What are you seeing now? I know that you manage and you help a lot of people with their buildings. What are you seeing now with COVID-19? A lot of tenants not wanting to pay because, hey, let's face it, they lost their job. So what are you seeing now? Are you seeing more people saying, hey, I'm just going to get rid of this building for, 40 cents to the dollar? What are you getting? What are you
So
seeing?
you're asking a really, really good question. And when I speak to clients that I've had for 20 or 30 years, the last 2 months, the first question I ask is, how are the rent collections going? And the stuff on the internet, and my experience with talking with clients is that the rent collections in residential apartments has actually been pretty solid. Everybody thought, because there are a lot of people, maybe 15-20% of New Yorkers aren't working, that there would be a lot of people that aren't paying their rent. However people are doing it, they're finding a way to pay their rent and cut on other things. There are a lot of owners that are saying, listen, if you pay me 70% of the rent, I'll consider that a full payment. I think the reality is, people are telling me that they're collecting between 80 and 90% of their rents. That's what they did in April and May. I don't know about June. It's not a disaster. It's not 50% of rents or 40% of rents. My same clients also tell me where they have retail on the ground floor of their apartment buildings, that the retail, they're losing 80% of their rents. So if you've got a building and that retail is half your mortgage payment, you're dead. If that hardware store or that restaurant is now not open anymore. So I have had a few clients that are just trying to sell their buildings because they're just tired and they just want to move on. There are always people that are making a lot of money and see this as an opportunity to buy buildings at a discount, because the changes, as I said, the changes in the code, buildings lost a third of their value. That's sales in the best parts of Manhattan, Astoria, Washington Heights, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Staten Island, everywhere across the whole 5 boroughs. The price of residential real estate has dropped between 25 and 30%. But people are still buying because they're thinking, well, the code sucks now, but there might be changes. There might be a different governor a few years from now. We might get a vacancy factor back. We might be able to be incentivized to renovate our apartments and our buildings and be able to add that into the rent. So there are some people that have a long-term view that if I can afford to carry the building now, I'm going to get rewarded 5-7 years from now. So it isn't dead, but it's definitely not good. And the transactional taxes from buying and selling buildings is the single biggest source of revenue for the city and the state of New York. So the less sales there are, the more it adds to, their deficit. The COVID is just pushing that vehicle off the cliff. It was already going off the cliff with the changes in the code. So it's definitely, I hate to say it, it's not a good time to be a real estate broker. It just isn't. There's just a lot less activity. And